Hi everyone, this is my case study, Truman Elementary School for AEP 858 Data Analysis and Assessment. My name is Mandy Berger. First, a little introduction. This case study is about an elementary school with low reading scores, which has then in return upset parents and poor reading instructions. We need to know why is this, how should it be handled, and what can be done to help bridge this gap. To start with, what do I know? Truman Elementary School is in the Midwest. It is a medium-sized school. It is actually one out of 4 elementary schools in this district. It has approximately 700 students, which is the largest school in this district. The principal has been there 2 years. 15% of the students are on free and reduced lunches, and 5% of the students are ESOL learners. The parents are upset about the poor reading scores. They have talked about it in their PTO meetings and have also sent a letter to the principal explaining why they're upset and what they'd like to see done. The principal has assessed the matter. He also has pulled in a district reading supervisor to get another set of eyes and a fresh opinion on it. There is a grant available. There will be 10 to 15 grants approximately handed out for roughly anywhere from 200 to 250,000 to be spent over a 2-year time period, but there are several guidelines that must be met in order to receive this grant. The main issue in this case is the poor reading scores. That the school is losing ground as a cohort and from grade to grade when you look at the data. And the parents have taken notice. They've contacted the principal, and the principal, like I mentioned, pulled in the reading specialist, so he called in another set of eyes. Sometimes it helps to have someone else look for it. There is a grant available. The principal needs to get everyone on board. The next issue is that the principal needs to follow the guidelines to be eligible for the grant. So the first step is probably to get a hold of the person in charge of the grant and see if their school is even able to apply, where if their percentage of economically challenged students is enough. And then once he does that, he needs to organize the school in the district. He needs to conduct an analysis of their student achievement and instructional program, and he has started doing that. Must implement a research-based program, and also has to have a statement of commitment from the superintendent of schools to be sent in to be considered for this grant, and must explain how the proposed activities are designed to reach the projected goal. Also, issue continued is the reading instruction. They're using basal reading only. The English language arts is only for an hour a day in the morning at whole group only. The teachers are offering no differentiated instruction. There's no reading strategies being used or taught to the students to help improve on their reading. And the instruction is not aligned with research that shows to be effective. There have been recommendations made by the reading specialist. The main thing is the curriculum standards need to be revised. They need to include phonics, the phonic skills, reading comprehensions. The teachers need to be integrating reading and writing throughout the whole curriculum. There needs to be many different elements of reading. Not only should kids be reading at their level, but they should be challenged to read at levels above where they are if they are expected to get any better. They need to be focusing on the needs of the individual as well as the needs of the whole class. Teachers should be flexible. Also, professional development and supports will be required if we expect these teachers and our students to be successful in solving this problem. What do I still need to know? When looking at the data, this is nothing new. Why is it just now getting looked at? If this has been going on for 3 years, what else has been done? The principal's been there for 2 years now. Has the data been looked at before? Has anything else been tried? How's the school culture? Do the teachers feel like they can come to the principal to ask for support and help? How do their scores compare to other schools in the district or even to the state? have there been other forms of data collected than just the one form of data we saw? What other forms of assessments do they use besides for just the standardized testing? Why have teachers not been doing their own assessments in their classrooms? And if they have, why have they not shared these low scores with the principal? The problem, the low reading scores. What is the best way to fix this? The ELA instruction. What does the school need to do to make changes to the curriculum so these scores can start to improve? Also, the teachers and the staff need to be made to know the importance of this subject. And we need to apply for the grant and follow the guidelines. Administration and staff need to work together to close the gap. So my proposed plan of action. First, I need to address the lack of instruction in this area. I need to start by talking to the reading supervisor, pulling them into my building, go over all the findings and the data, take those recommendations, make a plan, have a meeting with my teachers, and then give them the supports needed to follow my plan and revamp their instruction. I also need to explain why they're here and why I'm wanting to see those changes made. And I also think it's important to ask them why they think it is the way it is, and then listen to what they have to say and address their comments and concerns. The next, I need to come up with a plan for the grant. It's due June 1st. Applications are available March 20th, and time will go by fast. I need to meet all the guidelines. I think it's important in order to be successful in the grant and meet the guidelines to form a team to help me with these guidelines and get to work on it right away. Third, I need to talk to the parents at the next PTO meeting, let them know what we're doing, that we find their concern valid and that we are working on it. And that I'm also going to let them know that I'm going to make regular observations in the classroom to make sure that the new instruction is being implemented, and that if they have any more concerns, to please not hesitate to ask me. I also think at this time it's also important to bring in other stakeholders, such as school board members, so they too can see the importance of what I'm trying to accomplish and that the future of our district is important to me, and I want to see, our students be successful. Fourth, I want to meet regular with my grant team. I want to work on it together as a whole group to meet the guidelines. I want to take an active role in fixing this problem. And I think to do that, I have to collect more than one form of data so I can see this from several different angles. So I also, it takes more than one form of data to see the whole problem. So you can fix it all and not just one part of it. I need to focus on my explanation to the grant committee on how my proposed activities will reach the desired goals. I need to make sure I turn the application in on time. I also need to be prepared to have a plan in place when I'm approved for the grant. It has to be used over 2 years, and during that time, I have to send in an interim report and then a final report. And in case that I don't get approved, I have to have a plan in place on what I'm going to do. My plan is to follow the proposed plans by the reading specialist, collect data over that school year, and then analyze that data and reevaluate and make changes needed for improvement. Lastly, I think it's important to work on a school culture where all stakeholders know the importance of collaboration and communication. This will help lead to success. Category 3, resolving the issues. Based on promoting the success, what's the best for the students? First off, what's best for the students is making sure that I make sure all the needs of all the students are being met. And I can do that through observation, being seen, looking at the data, making changes to the curriculum. Next, I need to build relationships, with my staff to give the students every opportunity possible. I want my staff to know that I am there for them and what they do is important and that I am there to listen to them and make them better. It's also important to build a school culture where not only the students but the staff, that they know that they are trusted and that they're safe and that they have support from me so that they can be successful. What was I feeling, thinking, and valuing? Feeling, I kind of, some empathy and kind of a little confusion on why these teachers have been teaching this way and nothing has been done. Has there been no observations made, no data being looked at? But at the same time, hopeful because I think the principal wants to make these changes. What was I thinking? How important it is to have those relationships with parents and the community. What are these students missing out on from just the lack of instruction they're receiving? I'm also thinking about what activities I need to be putting in place so they can be successful, and how exactly else I would handle the situation. What I'm valuing is just, like I said, the importance of relationship, community support, so that way I can give my staff support, my students, and how much that they need to grow and be better and successful. Unresolved questions. What in the last 3 years has been done to improve this? Is the principal not looking at the data more often? Why only one type of data? How to establish the type of leadership needed to develop a school culture where every student can be successful and the teachers can come to me for help. I need to, Category 5, Standard 8, promotes this academic success by engaging families and the community. Meet with family members at the PTO meeting. Meet with families at the PTO meetings and communicate with them on how we are handling the situation and what changes are being made. Collect a variety of data, test scores, classroom data, perception data. Send out a survey to those parents, after my meeting with them and see if I'm doing enough. Send out another survey in a year. Analyze that data in a way that we can see our shortcomings so we can repair those and make those improvements needed. How do I communicate with the larger community? Early on, like I mentioned, bring in those stakeholders so they know what's going on and share those data with them. Don't hide it from them. Everyone needs to be on the same page if we're going to be a successful district. I also, once again, think it's important to collect a variety of data, those test scores, classroom data, and perception data. All that data is just, they're small pieces to the wheel of fixing the big problem. I also think it's important to compare it to the other schools in the district. Maybe they're missing something, and looking at our data would help them see a hole in theirs that they can also fix. We're one district. We need to help each other. Bring in outside help from the district. I did that by, bringing in that reading specialist, and then lastly, apply for that grant. How can I promote the success through teaching and learning? First off, it's important to follow the law and meet the needs of all the students. I think we need to change the ELA instruction per the reading specialist plan. Continue through this whole process to collect data. I also believe if we expect our staff to be successful, we have to offer them professional development and support so that way our students can be successful. And then student performance. How can I promote that? I think by building those relationships with the parents in the community is a step in the right direction. I also believe open communication, and then I think reflection. Reflect on what we've done so far and what still needs to be done. And then encourage my staff to come to me. If we expect our students to be better, my staff needs to come to me with any concerns, problems, questions, to be able to ask for help. We need to work together as a team if we are going to see improvement along the way as a whole for our district. Thank you.